Afternoon, folks, and I got to sneeze right away. Excuse me, I'm sorry to. I got the noise gates full up on these hearing aids, and they're connected with a cell phone. We're talking weapon systems 5 here, and a lot of you are going to be very disenchanted, but they didn't call him Red Ronnie for no reason at all. This weapon system is a frequency-based weapon system. It was deployed by Ronald Reagan. Could have been before then, but we know by the time Ronald Reagan was president, he went after Star Wars as they mocked his program. It consisted of 32 satellites circling the world. They were frequency satellites, frequency-based weapons. And we pretty much know the first time they were used were during the riots in LA. That would have been about, 1990, 1992. The Rodney King riots. The crowd wasn't agitated on their own. They used the frequency weapon system to cause the rioting. So Reginald Denny also got hauled out of a trunk and beaten, and they ruined these gentlemen's lives. But these satellites were frequency based, and they could do different things with the frequencies. They can kill you with them too. But what they did at this point was they agitated the crowd and got everybody rioting. President Ronald Reagan's Star Wars is what we nicknamed it. It's a series of 32 frequency satellites up in space. Quite a weapon system. We know they used frequency weapons way before that. But that's the big one. Another thing about Ronald Reagan is that that was when they made the vaccine manufacturers immune from lawsuit. That's when they screwed up those laws. Henry Waxman, a senator out of California, did that. But that's another thing that Red Ronnie was noted for. I know people worship him. Oh, he's a conservative. No, man, you aren't getting choices. You are not in charge or control at all. You haven't been elected in the election of president since Woodrow Wilson was elected. The electorate has not been in charge of this country, hasn't had control of a single election since President Woodrow Wilson was elected. The jackass that gave you the Federal Reserve, gave you the FBI, had a different name back then, gave you B'nai B'rith, what's that called? The Anti-Defamation League, whose main role is to defame people and ruin them by defaming them. He also gave you World War I, committed to the Balfour Declaration to create Israel, where Palestine was at. That's where it all started. The Balfour Declaration basically was, we promised to bring America in the war, World War I, if you will support creating the modern state of Israel, a Jewish state. Kind of weird that we have a state that's allowed to call itself a religious state. Don't get me wrong, I know there's other countries that have other religions, official religions, state religions, but this is the only one that gets to call itself a Jewish state. There's no other Jewish state that I know of anyway. And we don't have a Catholic state out there. We have Vatican City. We certainly, I don't know of any Muslim nations that are officially, some of those guys in the Middle East, it's kind of strange. They appear to be Jewish on the one hand and Muslim on the other hand. I don't know how that works, don't ask me. There also appears to be a distinct relationship between Catholics and Jews, and Catholics and Muslims. Don't ask me, folks. Look into it yourself. President Ronald Reagan's Star Wars frequency satellites used to foment riots in LA. I was just south of there, and the riots were pretty bad. I had friends up there in the area. black smoke was coming out. Real acrid stuff was really toxic, going everywhere. So this is weapon system number 5. And I know some of you are going to say, how can you say that about the conservative President Ronald Reagan? I can say it because it's the doggone truth. This is number 1. Jeez, I forget the number. 118, I think.